the rain we had saturated the ground, and then a little bit of wind comes in and just blows them over.
Trees keep toppling, homes crushed, roads blocked, work crews busy.
Not a severe storm, but this wet and windy system has been a life changer for some and taken the life of another.
Yeah, I think it's just the Lord calling them home. It's just it's time to go.
Wet roads causing messy crashes. The floodgates literally open tonight. The wind still turning up ties.
WBTV on your side with team coverage now at 5.
This WBTV high-definition program is sponsored by Time Warner Cable. WBTV News at 5 starts right now.
These are live pictures from the Elizabeth neighborhood right now. A tree resting on top of a house. Extensive damage. Similar scenes in many places tonight. Good evening. Welcome. I'm Paul Cameron.
And I'm Maureen O'Boyle. Good to have you here. We're going to take you back out live to Elizabeth and across the area in just a moment, show you that widespread damage. But first, we are still under a wind advisory. WBTV's chief meteorologist Eric Thomas in the Weather Alert Center for what to watch out for.
Well, yeah, and here's the thing, Maureen, all the trees that have been falling. Now, you'll see that our live WeatherNet data, we're still showing wind gusts. This is today anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour, and this is not in the mountains, friends. This is Kannapolis. We have Denver and also right here in Charlotte. But I want to also remind you, too, that it's not just the strength of the wind, it's the duration of the wind. We've been having now these strong winds for almost 3 days, and you can imagine anything you do, if you keep pushing and you keep pushing and keep pushing, eventually you're going to win and you're going to push something over, and that's what's been happening during the day today. So there you see that 50-degree number there at Scott Clark's Toyota City WeatherNet. Here it is, the wind advisory. That will be expiring, as said, in about an hour at 6 o'clock, which is good news. You see rainfall that's still rotating down through Mecklenburg. The worst of it right now centered on Albemarle and Stanley County, so we'll continue to track that situation as well. All coming up in your Weather Alert forecast.
Eric, thank you. A number of roads closed today due to this. Down trees. This is Queens Road West. This tree crashed down between Selwyn and Croydon Roads, taking down power lines along the way. The road has just reopened this past hour. The same problem on Sharon Road West. A detour in that area throughout the morning and afternoon thanks to a tree on power lines. WBTV Steve Crump on your side and live in the Elizabeth neighborhood. Steve, all these trees down. Well, haven't heard this many chainsaws since, I guess, Hugo.
Absolutely, and Hugo's a flashback for some of the folks here, and you talk about wood and trees and things that are going to have to be cut out. Check this out here. We're in the 2000 block of Greenway. That's in the Elizabeth neighborhood, and you can see that the tree just kind of came down and smashed the front side of this house, going through the roof and landing in the living room. Fortunately, nobody lives here, but folks in this neighborhood are dealing with the effects of weather that's just gone crazy. Surviving the storm meant facing Mother Nature's aftermath. Downed trees are predictable, and so are slashed power lines. But working by candlelight means having to adapt to circumstances beyond one's control, since high winds have brought hardship.
It doesn't allow us to do anything here on our job. Copying, printing, answering phones, I think even those are out.
Dave Guthrie operates the Surf Speedy print shop. It's on Caswell Avenue, right at the edge of the Elizabeth neighborhood. Not having power here puts drivers on the honor system, which could have resulted in a case of bumper cars. Blocks away, we found the problem. Turns out that high winds bent this power pole, and replacing it means cutting power to the rest of the neighborhood. The loss of trees means that Ken Lewis has found a windfall. Lewis and his crew goes door to door searching for families that need his services. He found some takers in the Elizabeth neighborhood.
And I ride around and I find trees on houses and I cut them off. Or, whatever needs to be done.
For a nominal fee?
Yes, sir.
Clearing limbs and dealing with the loss of electricity, a tall order on this day. Outages were sporadic at places like Queens Road and along Sharon Road West, where crews spent several hours. And back at the print shop, Dave Guthrie, well, he's having to take matters into his own hands.
We can keep the door open and take orders as they come in, but that's about it.
Just an amazing amount of damage here, and folks still without power at this point, even back at the print shop and up and down the street here in the Elizabeth neighborhood. Paul, you were talking about Hurricane Hugo. This obviously is a flashback simply because people, well, they're going to have to do dinner by candlelight. Live from Elizabeth, Steve Crump, WBTV, on your side.
Eating out of the freezer tonight, Steve, thanks. The falling trees, destructive, but they're also very deadly. Coming up at 5:10, a 1 in a million shot. We'll tell you about the sad freak accident that left a Mooresville man dead.
Sky 3 live in Catawba County. Besides the wind, the rain has been nothing if not persistent. There's been so much Duke Energy has actually had to open the floodgates. This is the Riverbend Park off Highway 16 along the Catawba River. You can see these pictures from the ground earlier. The water rushing there. The park closed tonight because Duke is lowering the water level in the Catawba. So water is rushing out of this dam, the Oxford Dam. The Parks Department expects it to reopen tomorrow.
Maureen, more weather damage. Police say this big rig hydroplane before it flipped over on its side on the Brookshire Freeway this morning. The overturned truck sent Dixie cups scattering all over the road. Someone even went over the guardrail, hitting cars. Some even went there, hitting cars below, but no one was hurt. New information on a crash that killed 3 people in Catawba County. Highway Patrol now says they gave out the wrong name of one of the victims from this heart-wrenching wreck near Newton. 12-year-old Tyler Trevette, a critical condition, but he is alive. It was 11-year-old Cody Story who died. Story and 2 older women killed instantly when the driver ran a red light and into the path of the tractor-trailer. Another child is also in critical condition.
An armed robber on the run tonight. These clear surveillance pictures show the man running out of the BB&T on Hickory Grove Road. This is in East Charlotte. He's got cash in his hand. Police say he came in, flashed a handgun, and took off. He was last seen driving a newer model charcoal gray Chevy Impala. This fire in West Mecklenburg County ruled arson tonight. Flames gutted the vacant home here on Long Paw Lane last night. Drivers say they could see it from I-485. Nearby homes had to be hosed down to stop that fire from spreading. Right now, investigators don't have any suspects.
Friends and family show up in force to remember a young woman allegedly murdered by her boyfriend. A march in uptown Charlotte today in memory of Tigges Yamani. Police say Devon Thomas shot and killed Yamani at his parents' house in northeast Charlotte early Saturday. Now, she had moved to Charlotte from Ethiopia 6 years ago for heart surgery. Her caretakers trusted Thomas.
She loved him, and she thought she was going to have a nice relationship and a nice life with him.
Arrest records show that Thomas has been arrested 3 times in the past, once for assault on a female. He is held without bond.
Lawyers say a convicted killer isn't sane enough to face the death penalty. Curtis Vance facing execution or life in prison. A jury will decide. Vance's defense says his brain is like a car with bad wiring. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yesterday, Vance was found guilty of murdering Greenville native and Little Rock news anchor Ann Presley in her home last fall.
The man accused of going on a deadly rampage at Fort Hood now charged with 13 counts of premeditated murder. Nadal Malik Hassan was read the charges at the hospital today. The Army psychiatrist was shot twice after he allegedly killed 12 soldiers and a civilian on the base last week. Tonight, soldiers wounded in the attack are talking about how it all happened.
A man stood up in uniform, screamed Allah Akbar, and proceeded to open fire on myself and the rest of my fellow soldiers sitting there.
29 others were hurt in the shooting. Hassan may face a 14th murder charge because one of the victims was pregnant. A suspect in custody, a child still missing, still ahead. The reason neighbors in North Carolina town say they know this man abducted a little girl.
I'm David Wisden in Mooresville. An elderly man killed Wednesday afternoon when high winds brought a branch down on top of his car. I've got that story all new and on your side at 5.
I'm Trent Ferris on your side in Chester counties, and 12 families in this neighborhood are trapped because of these floodwaters. I'll have that story coming up.
And we've got your weather pictures online. Rising waters, damaging winds from the lenses of your neighbors. Share your pictures by going to the homepage of WBTV.com.